Hello, I'm Laura Berlage of Arendelle Tapestry Studio. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to measure warp for your next weaving project using a warping board. If you have one of these handy and your warp is on a spool, that can be very useful. You just slide your spool onto there, hook your thread up here, and then as you go, your spool doesn't run all over on the floor. But if you don't have one of those, that's okay. Today, the warp that I'm going to use is this nice Italian cotton, which is wound in a ball. So I'm going to put it in this basket so that it doesn't scoot all over the floor while I'm measuring my warp. To calculate your warp, you need to think about the length of your finished project, plus fringe on either side, plus add about 4 inches for uptake, which is because the warp has to do this throughout the weaving. It actually takes a bit more length than the actual finished piece. And a typical floor loom has about 15 inches of loom waist. So once you add all those pieces up, you get the full measurement of the warp length you need. Then what I do is I take a nice cotton cording and I measure out how long that is, and I use that to mark off on my warping board where it hits on the pegs to achieve that right length. You want to start up here because this is where your cross is going to be, and then whatever iteration on the pegs helps you get the right length. If you have a very long warp that you're doing, you may be doing a lot of zigging, zagging back and forth. This is more of a medium to small size piece. I'm making a shawl. So I start up here, and I measured it to go down there, across to here, and down to this bottom one. Now I can leave that as a guide, just making sure I don't tie onto that when we take the bundle off. Or if you've got it down, you can take your marker off. To get started, I'm going to tie this in a loop, the end of my warp thread. So I fold it over. Just make an overhand so that there is enough of a loop here that I can hook onto my lower peg, right down here. The main thing with measuring your warp is A, you want to be sure that you get your cross consistently right the whole way through, and B, that you also have very consistent, even tension. If you measure some of your warp threads on very tight and some of them very loose, when you go to put it on the loom, you can end up with quite the inconsistencies will show up as you're warping, and you'll be frustrated. So what I do is I'm right-handed, so I use my right hand to guide it onto the pegs, and I'm using my left hand as a tensioner. Think like when you thread your sewing machine, all those different parts that you go over as a tensioner. That's what my left hand is doing. And up here at the cross, this is the really important part. This is how we know the exact separations of the threads. Come back to that. Nice even movement. This doesn't have to be tight, just nice and even. So down, up, and over. And if you need to say that to yourself as you're going, go for it. Do that again. And down, up, and over. I want to make sure that these guys are stacking right next to each other and that they're not crossing over each other. Down, up, and over. Kind of like a dancing motion. For this particular project, I'm using a 12 dent reed, which would be 12 EPIs or warps per inch. But for this shawl, I'm actually going to warp it at half of that. So I'll go into every other hole in the reed. So I'm doing a 6 EPI And I've got enough loops here, I can show you the next step. So when I need to pause, I come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to go round and round and round a few times so that it maintains my tension and I don't lose my tension. And I'm going to take a piece of my cotton, about this wide, I'm going to fold it in half, and 2, 4, 6 loops would be 2 inches, because each loop represents 2 warps. So here I have 12 warp threads, which is 2 inches. I'm going to draw the cording around it, so it's going around the loop. I've got one end on one side of those warps and one end on the other. And then I can push everything back now that I have that first 2 inches marked. And I'll show you what we do when we get the next 2 inches on. So I'm going to uncurl all that wrapping and carry on. If you're working with warp that is more than one color, you tie off. Say that I was going to change colors there. I would wind on like I did for the tie off, and I trim my end, go ahead and leave it wound up, and then I would take my new color and I would do like how I started this one. I would tie that loop onto the end, hook on to that bottom rung, and carry on. When I'm warping, I like to make sure that I have enough time to do the entire process, because if you go away and come back, it's very likely that your tension will have changed. So if you're warping, really try to get it all done in one setting. So I had 1 extra last time, so I've added 5 more, so I have another 6 loops up here, so I'm going to tie this off, double check, 2, 4, 6. Now it's a little hard to see from your angle, but I'll talk you through it. This is my right one, and this is my left one for that cotton cord. The left one is going to go under the right one, and then it's going to come up and around those loops and pull back down. And that creates a little twist between the loops. Tuck those out of the way. So now we have 4 inches wide for our project. Down and up, down and up and over. If at any time you're working away and you look up and you see something going straight across between these two, then you miswarped the cross and you need to back up until you find that spot and fix it. We don't want to see anything going straight. It should look like an X right there. And down and up, down and up, and over. Tying off, I should have another 6. Let's double check. 2, 4, 6. Yep, okay, so let's recap on these guys. So I've got my right one and my left one. The left one's going under the right one, and the left one is going through the loops and cinch it back. Now I have 3 sections, which is 6 inches for my project. Push everybody back. Down and up, down and up and over. There are other warping methods out there. There are styles where it's a piece that pivots, or you go round and round. The warping board is a fairly simple method. And it helps you get your piece started. Down and up and over. And that should be another 6. 2, 4, 6. Left one goes under the right one. Around the loops. Back through, pull it snug. Push it back. Down and up and over. And that should be another 6. Let's double check. 2, 4, 6. Left one comes under the right one. Around the loop. Pull it back. Give ourselves some more room. And now I have 5 groupings, so 10 inches width for our project. Get a rhythm to it. Five. 6. Back down to the bottom. 2, 4, 6. Left one under the right one. Pull it back. Give ourselves some room. So now I have 12 inches of width for the work spacing I'm using. Two. 3. Remember, it's down and up and over. If you go up and down, it will still look like a cross, but you'll get rather confused when you're warping. So be consistent, down and up and over. The cross is your friend. Get it right. 2, 4, 6, left one under the right one, through the loops, pull it back. One, two, three, down and up, down and up and over. Oops, that one. 2, 4, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 16 inches. And I don't have a lot left, but let's see how many more rows we can get from this ball. No, it looks like 16 was about it. So we'll back up. And go a couple times around down here. Trim it. All right, and we don't want to lose the cross when we take it off. So we're going to do our belt and suspenders trick. This is how it was explained to me by one of my teachers, and it stuck. So we need 5 chunks of our cotton, or you can use loom waste from a previous project, or whatever you have around, just as long as it's not going to break on you. Cutting 5 of them. And we can go ahead and tie off our 2 ends here in a bow. So you're supposed to think like the old man who's conservative and wears a belt and suspenders, because the last thing we want to do is take this off and lose our cross. So I'm going to start with the suspenders. I'm going to come here to the top of the left cross, draw my yarn through, tie that in a bow, then I'll do the same on the bottom of the left cross. Don't catch your guide thread. Bring that through, make sure I get everybody. There we go. Now we'll move on to the right cross. Catch the top. And the bottom. This will be critical for when we transfer it onto the loom. Now I'm going to do the belt. So I'm going to go through this side and through this side. So I'm coming through the middle. I've got the cross captured between these two. Tie another bow. Alright, now we're ready to take it off. So I'm going to start down here. And especially if you have a lot of long warp on here, this trick will be particularly useful to get it from your warping board to your loom without it turning into a big snarl. Think about it like a crochet chain. And pull a loop through, pull a loop through, pull a loop through. So it makes it into more of a bundle. And there you go. We're ready to take that to our loom. Happy creating!